Baby, what are you doing? Are you helping with this? Like, what are you doing?
What do you want me to do?
What are you doing? Like, did you message these people? Like, how are we doing this? There's nobody here. I mean, if no one shows up in 5 minutes, it's done. It's the point of a webinar. Like, what are you working on right now?
I'm messaging some people that I know are supposed to be.
Okay. Hey guys, so we're just waiting for some more people to join the webinar. We had to change the URL last minute, so we're just waiting for a few more people to join. So if you guys can just bear with me, we'll have a few more people in here soon. We'll get started in about, so let's say 2-3 minutes, right? Just waiting for some people to join, just because we had to do this link switch. So it's going to take us, I think, a little bit of time to get people to actually join in here because of that switch. So just bear with me if you guys can wait for another 2 minutes. Hey guys, welcome to the webinar. We're just waiting for a few people to show up. We had to change the link last minute, so thank you for bearing with me here. I think we're still going to have a few more people join in, but I think we're probably at a good point to get started here. I was just waiting to have a few more people join in. All right, so let's get started. All right, welcome guys. Thank you very much for being here. It's a pleasure having you here. And adjust my desk a little bit. These standing desks are very useful. Okay, great. So today what we're going to talk about is how to get started with crypto trading using algorithms. All right. So our schedule here is, or our agenda for today is going to be this right here. Okay. First, I want to get to know you guys a little bit. You guys can tell me a little bit about who is on the call. You can tell me about yourselves a little bit. I'm going to tell you about myself as well. Then we're going to go through an introduction, a little bit about Lumiwealth and kind of what we do. We're going to talk about why algorithms and why we want to do these types of things, including companies that use algorithms. They're going to talk about our technology, and then we're going to go into some demos I think you guys will really like. All right. And then at the end, we'll talk about the full course and how you guys can take advantage of all the stuff that we spent years learning and we can give to you to be able to build your own algorithms. So first of all, who is on this call, right? If you guys can type this out into the chat, I'll be checking the chat throughout this call. So if you guys can type it out, what is your occupation? Do you know how to program? And how much years, how much crypto experience do you have in years, right? So I'll let you guys write that out. I will actually take these questions and even put them into the chat. Actually have them there. But I'll answer these questions and I'll also tell you a little bit about myself as well. So my occupation, I'm the CEO of Lumiwealth. So my job is really to make sure that you guys are happy, that we're building some really cool algorithms, making money for our clients. We're really, Lumiwealth is really focused on using software to help improve people's investment returns. Do I know how to program? Yes, I do. I've been programming for over 20 years now. I've probably hired and fired more than 200-300 software engineers in my lifetime. So wrote a lot of code. I know a lot of different programming languages and have been in the management side of things for quite some time now. And then how much crypto experience do you have? Well, I've been in crypto for a while. Probably started in 2016 or 17, I want to say, back in New York City. Helped actually work on a couple of different big businesses in the crypto space, including one that's been in the news lately, which is Voyager. Unfortunately, they got caught up in that whole hedge fund thing. But I remember when I started that company back in the day as an early stage employee there's really only 5 of us trying to figure out how to build an app. And now they're worth $1 billion, and now they're right back down to where we started. But it was one heck of a ride and definitely a very profitable ride. But let me read kind of some of the stuff that you guys are writing here. So Horace says he's an IT consultant, novice in programming, very cool. Focused on crypto, stock options trading, very cool. We also have a class on options trading as well. I think there's a lot of really cool stuff you can build with algorithms there. He also says, I'm not code oriented, but I'm aware of the value of algorithmic trading and bots. Awesome. Welcome, Horace. Very cool. Sean says he's a business owner, part-time back-end developer. Very cool. I think this would be a great match for you. Self-taught for about 1.5 years. Very cool. That's awesome. I self-taught myself how to code too. I love people that do that. Crypto trading since 2017 bull run and was hooked ever since. I know the feeling. I think we started trading crypto around the same time. Totally intrigued with coding and software design. Very cool. That's awesome, Sean. Thank you very much for that. Very cool. So I'll let you guys continue to write out your answers there. But I'm going to tell you a little bit more about myself. As I said, I'm the CEO of Lumiwealth. It's a company that we started about 3 years ago where we're really focused on providing better investment returns for our clients using software. Right now, we do that a lot through courses. We're also launching a hedge fund later this year, so watch out for that. It's going to be very cool. Throughout my career, I've worked at many different startups. Like I said, some of them have worked out quite well for me. I started a company back in the day. So we sold it for a couple $1 million when I was in my 20s. That was nice. Then ended up moving to New York City. In New York, I worked at a few prominent spots in Wall Street and in financial technology. I worked at a mortgage company where I helped build out an application that manages probably managed like $100 billion in mortgage loans by now. It's worked at quite a large company and kind of reinvented the way that they approach clients and deal with mortgages and things like that. Also after that, went to go work at Voyager, as I mentioned, right? As an early stage employee there, as maybe employee number 3 or number 4. And basically built that thing from scratch. So if you ever heard of Voyager, it's basically like a Coinbase competitor. It's like an app where you could trade crypto. It was doing very well up until the most recent crash. They got involved in that whole 3AC hedge fund. You've probably heard about them all in the news. That's a company that I helped found. I hope that they survive this. I think their CEO is very good. If you guys have any questions around that, happy to answer that. I haven't been there for some time, but definitely know a lot of the management there. And I think they're great people. I think they'll be able to survive this, but there's one heck of a liability to have on your books. So we'll see what happens there. So that's a little bit about myself. I also have a master's in finance. I've been doing this stuff for quite some time. But let's give you a little introduction to Lumi Wealth and kind of what we're up to here. So Lumi Wealth, as I said, we're all about using software to improve people's investment returns. I have a very strong belief that software is really taking over everything in the world, and finance is no different, right? I would not be surprised if we fast forward a couple of years, and if you're not investing using some sort of software, you are left in the dust significantly. I bet you everyone in the future is going to use some form of software to do their investing. Case in point, the whole ETF boom, right? Why do people buy ETFs? Because they're low cost. They're managed by software. That's what ETFs are. They're basically trading algorithms that do fairly straightforward things, buy and sell specific percentages of stocks in a portfolio, mimic an index or something. You can build a lot of algorithms that do that sort of stuff. You can also build a lot more complex algorithms, kind of like what I'll show you today. I'm going to show you one that's like a custom ETF where you can kind of copy what an ETF is in the crypto world. But I'll show you a lot of other examples of things that we can do as well. All right. So yes, this is Lumi Wealth. We also have a YouTube channel. I'm going to share this into the chat as well here. So here's that YouTube channel. All right. There's a lot of really good content on here. I'd strongly recommend that you guys check it out. When you go to our YouTube page, you're also going to see that we have, first of all, a lot of content that we've put up here over the years. We have some of our strategy demos, which we're going to be adding to. We're going to be adding to this over the next couple of weeks. There's quite a few more that we could show off. We have interviews with a lot of different people in the finance industry, everything from hedge fund managers, real estate managers, people that work in DeFi and in the blockchain space. A lot of really interesting interviews here for you guys to watch. There's testimonials that you guys can watch as well. Learn about some of our past students and what they thought about everything. So there's a lot of really good stuff in here, right? Feel free to check out our YouTube channel. When you get there, also make sure that you subscribe and you hit this bell button, because we do post a lot of stuff in here. So you'll be one of the first people that gets notified when there's new things out there, new strategies that we're working on, new types of things that we've discovered. You'll be the first to get notified there. So make sure you subscribe and you hit that little bell over here, right? Cool, awesome. So there's that. Then we also have our Discord channel, which I think you guys will really love as well. For those of you that don't know what Discord is, it's basically Slack. It's something like a chat, right? So here, we have all of our different public channels inside of our Lumiwealth server. That link that I shared to you in the chat will get you access to the server. You will get to know some of our past students, some of our current students. You'll get to know other people that have the same sort of, burning desire for this stuff and are trying to understand this stuff. You'll meet people in the blockchain space. You'll meet people that are building trading algorithms. I think it's a great place for you to get to know kind of what we're all about and, help you on your journey, help you build out these things that you want to build, right? We use this a lot. If you become a student of ours, you also get access to the private channels that we have here. We have a bunch of private channels, as you could tell. And we also have a private discussion hour, which is happening right now. That's pretty cool. We could jump in there if we wanted to. But there's another private channel. When you join our one of our classes, you get access to this. And basically every week on Tuesdays at this time, right, 8 p.m. Eastern, people jump on board and they talk about how are the algorithms going, what are they trading. There's lots of really cool stuff that's in there. Very smart people. I think it's a great way to get to know really how to make money in this space. You know, this is what it's all about, right? So this is a great thing that you get access to after you join our classes as well, right? And then also, I just want to let you know, please make sure you ask questions throughout the presentation, right? It's a lot more interesting when this is interactive, right? We have a fairly small group today, I think, because of this link mishap at the beginning. But make sure that you ask questions throughout this presentation, because that way we make it much more interactive and much more interesting. So that's a very good thing for you guys to do, right? Don't feel like you have to wait until the end. All right. So that's the introduction, right? But let's start talking about, you know, why would you want to use algorithms to trade crypto, right? So I have a couple reasons listed here. These are not the only reasons, but I think probably the top ones. First of all, crypto is a 24/7 market, right? I don't know about you, but I like sleeping. You know, try staying up for a couple of days, try to watch the crypto market. I mean, you eventually is going to pass out on a couch or something like that. So, you know, you can't really stay up 24/7, right? That's not humanly possible. But a lot of stuff is happening when you're asleep, right? Like I'll give you one example where, you know, Russia invaded Ukraine, right? When that happened, the crypto markets reacted violently. I don't know if you guys are watching it, but this is at something like 1 o'clock in the morning on Eastern time. And, you know, crypto markets just tank. They dropped like 10, 20% in like a matter of hours, right? If you had a bot, you know, if you're, you know, a human being, you're going to sleep, you probably wouldn't have seen that and you would have woken up and you're like, oh my goodness, I lost so much money. If you had a bot monitoring that, you could have had something saying, okay, things are dropping very quickly. There's some news that came out. Let's exit the position for a little bit. We'll wait until things stabilize and get back in, right? Or you could have even shorted it, right? You could have made money on the way down, right? So because they're 24 hours, you can have this bot that's also monitoring things 24 hours, right? You can't do this, right? You have to sleep, you have to work, you have to, you know, do whatever else you have to do in your life. But these bots that you build, they're going to be monitoring things 24/7, even when you're not paying attention, right? Second of all, there's thousands of assets out there. Sean says futures trading is phenomenal. Absolutely, I agree with you. There's a lot of cool stuff in futures. We by the way, we can connect with futures markets as well if you're interested in that. Both crypto futures and regular futures, if that's something you're interested in. So the crypto market is 24/7. So there's a lot they could do there. There's also thousands of assets out there, right? You know, there's a lot more. Like there's so many of these things that keep popping up every 5 seconds, right? There seems to be a new coin all the time. And a lot of them are garbage, right? I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of, you know, we call them shit coins. There's a lot of them out there. But there's also, and Sean says crypto futures. Yeah, it's very cool. If you're interested in that, you can do that through KuCoin. I could show you how to set that up. Very cool. You can make money in both directions, right? But yeah, so there's thousands of assets out there. So imagine you had a bot that's able to sift through all this stuff, filter it out, and say this is not a good coin to invest in. You know, I could show you a couple of websites like Token Sniffer. Right, Token Sniffer is one really good one. Tokensniffer.com. If you go to this website, you can actually find out, you know, what are some of the coins doing here, right? So latest scams, right, tells you exactly what scam coins are out there, where are some of the newest coins. You can go into some of these things, Pack-in Inu, right? Selfie is less than 10%, right? These are kind of like things that you can go through and do little checks. Say a smell test, 45 out of 100. This doesn't seem like a good coin, right? This seems like this is probably something that's not a good buy, right? It's kind of hard to do this stuff manually. You're going to have to constantly be looking at the market. But if you have a bot running for you, you could literally just have it go look at each one of these things, check it on Token Sniffer, check it on a bunch of other different websites. These small coins look like they're good. And then furthermore, you can look for breakouts in any one of them. There's a lot of really interesting things that you can do to trade those types of coins, right? So thousands of assets. It's going to take you way too much time to go through this manually. So the bots are going to be very helpful there. Right. There's also hundreds of exchanges, right? Which means that you're going to have different prices on different exchanges. We're actually, I'm working on right now an arbitrage bot. They can be a little bit complex to build, specifically an arbitrage bot, because there's a lot of things you have to do around it. But there's a lot of money to be made doing this sort of stuff, right? Mispricing between exchanges, especially decentralized exchanges, tend to have a lot of mispricing. There's quite a few ways you can make money between exchanges as well, right? If something's trading on Binance in a certain way, but it's trading on KuCoin in a different way, you could actually take advantage of those mispricings. And then you could also take advantage of very fast-moving trends, right? So again, what if you're at dinner with your friend, your wife, your husband, whatever it is, right? Trends could be changing very quickly. Maybe you're out for a nice dinner and you don't realize that crypto is moving by 10% in the past, couple minutes or an hour or two, because it does move very quickly. It's unlike stocks. You see a movement of 10% of the stock market. It's like the world is ending, whereas a 10% movement in crypto is very common, right? So being able to take advantage of those things using a bot can make you quite a bit of money. This volatility can be quite profitable for bot trading, right? So Sean says arbitrage paired with flash loans. Yeah, absolutely. That's it's a little bit more complicated to build out a bot like that. A lot of people ask about these arbitrage bots. We can have that conversation if you'd like. Arbitrage bots are a little bit more complicated to build, but can be extremely profitable, especially because you can use flash loans and things like that. Sergio asked, will we cover specific strategies in this webinar? Yes, I'm going to show you 4 specific strategies. I'm going to demo them for you so you get to see some of them working. It's a good question, Sergio. Thank you for that. We'll get to that in just a little bit. We're kind of going to talk about this and we'll jump into that. All right. Okay, so here's a couple of different reasons why you'd want to use algorithms to trade crypto, but there's quite a few more. I'm sure you have your own reasons. Maybe you just don't want to be reading the news all the time. Maybe you want to, have a little bit more of a life. Maybe you're trading full time right now. Not having to do that can be quite beneficial. Right? All right. Cool. So that's the reasons to trade crypto. But don't take my word for it, right? There's a lot of people making quite a bit of money off this stuff already, right? We're not the first ones. We didn't invent this. There's a lot of people doing this stuff. Actually, if you look this up, most of the crypto trades, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, there's numbers that say as high as 90% of all trades in the crypto market are placed by robots. So if you're not running a robot, you're actually at a significant disadvantage, right? And here's some of the companies that are doing that stuff, right? So for example, there's one company, these are all hedge funds that have done very well over the years using trading algorithms and data science. So Renaissance Technology is probably one of the most popular, or probably one of the best out of all these. These guys have done a really good job over time, at least in terms of like the big funds, right? Last I checked, they had $110 billion worth of assets. That's probably a lot more by now. I checked this about a year or two ago. And they've been growing very quickly. So it's probably a lot more than that. These guys, they make an average return of 39%, and they've been doing that for 30 years, right? For those of you that are new to crypto, that might not sound like a lot. You might look at it and be like, oh yeah, I make 1,000%. The key here is consistency, right? For the people that made 1,000% in a year, that's great. Can you do that again next year without losing all of your money? You know what I mean? That's a big question mark, because that happens to a lot of people, right? So these guys, they're able to make 39% average returns, which means that some years they'll make 150%, some years they'll make 10%, right? However, I could tell you these guys very, very rarely lose money. I think over 30 years, they've only lost money once in one quarter, and barely. 2008 went by, the market crashed by 50%, and these guys still came out swinging, making money. It's crazy how much money these guys are making, no matter what, really. It's uncorrelated with the stock market. They make money no matter if things are up, down, sideways. They don't care. They're making money either way, right? So just to give you an idea of what 39% a year means, right? For those of you that don't have a finance background, right? So compound interest is quite powerful, right? Albert Einstein said compound interest is the most powerful force on earth, right? So let me show you an example of that, right? So if you put $1,000, just $1,000 into your retirement account, and you got the average stock market return, which is about 10% a year, right? And you waited for 30 years, that $1,000 would have turned into $17,000 after 30 years. Yeah? It's a pretty good return. This is why they say invest in the stock market, invest your money. It's a heck of a lot better than putting in a savings account. I'll tell you that much, right? However, if you had instead put your money into Renaissance Technologies, I can get you the exact number if you want. I can pull out a calculator, but basically it's 1,000 times 1.39 to the power of 30. That's the math, right? So $1,000 instead of turning into 17,000 would have turned into $24 million, right? So 39% doesn't mean you have 4 times the return. It means you have 4 times the return every year, right? It's kind of like if you folded a piece of paper something like 20 times, it would go all the way to the moon, right? Just this compounding is quite powerful. That's doubling every single time. In this case, quadrupling, right? You're getting quadruple the returns every year for 30 years straight. So instead of ending up with 17,000, you end up with 24 million. It's significantly more money. I don't know about you guys, but I'd love to be in the second boat, right? And that's what we're working on, right? How do we get these types of returns consistently? Not just 1 year where we made 1,000% a year and the next year we blow up our portfolio and we're out. No, we're looking for consistent returns where we're making money year after year. We don't lose money. We're just constantly adding and growing, right? That's the kind of thing that we're looking for, right? So if you want to read a little bit more about these guys, there's a great book on it, and I'm going to put this into the chat. It's a book called The Man Who Solved the Market. It's about the guy that started this hedge fund, Renaissance Technologies, Jim Simmons. Very smart guy. They started this back in the 1970s when computers were like really not that good. 1970s, maybe 1980s. But they were using really, really basic computers to do this stuff. It took them a while to kind of figure it out and get it going. But the story is fascinating on how they basically went from, not really having much to having this massively luxurious lifestyle. Some of the people in this company would like buy houses and forget about them because like they're making so much money. Some of these guys are making like hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Jim Simmons is a billionaire several times over, by the way. He's one of the richest people on earth. Fascinating story. If you guys want to learn a little bit more about algo trading and kind of the history behind this, this is a great book to read about it. You will not regret it. I guarantee you that. It's a fascinating read about how these guys were able to make so much money, build algorithms that really have made some extremely wealthy people in this world. Several billionaires have come out of this company. But they're not the only ones, right? Like Renaissance is just one of them, right? They're one of the better ones, right? One of the biggest. But there's a lot of other companies like this, right? Two Sigma is another one. These guys are a huge hedge fund. Last time I checked, $60 billion, probably even more than that now. Consistently beat the stock market. And again, only trading algorithms. There's not a single person that places a trade in either Renaissance or Two Sigma. It's only computers doing this trading, right? Citadel is another one like this. They have computers that basically run the entire market. They're market makers. They're the ones behind Robinhood, right? You think you're making money off Robinhood? No, you're not. These are the guys that are really making money off Robinhood. Every single trade that you place, these guys are getting around it using algorithms, right? They're the smart money behind this stuff. They don't care if the market's up or down. They're making money regardless, right? Citadel, they have tons of these trading robots making lots and lots of money. They become a huge company. Citadel, this hedge fund is $32 billion in assets, but Citadel, the company, is actually even much, much bigger than that. They have several different divisions that do a lot of things in markets. Bridgewater is another really interesting one. These guys, they don't have bots trading for them, but they do have a lot of data science behind it. They use a lot of data to make their decisions, right? So a lot of software people there. I know some friends that work there, so I kind of know a little bit of the details behind that. And then another really cool one is D.E. Shaw. And you guys have probably heard of someone who used to work here, right? Does anyone know who used to work at D.E. Shaw? I'll give you guys a second. You guys can probably Google it, so I'm not going to give you too much time. A very famous person, very rich person, right? Actually was the richest man on earth at one point in time. Definitely know who this guy is. It is Jeff Bezos, was someone who used to work at D.E. Shaw. So the story goes, Young Jeff Bezos, graduated from school. I think one of the first jobs that he got after college was at this hedge fund called DE Shaw. And what they do is they build trading algorithms, right? They use data to help inform their trades and to place actual trades for them as well. DE Shaw, incredibly successful hedge fund. They've done very well over a long period of time. It's also how Jeff Bezos got his idea for Amazon. When he worked at DE Shaw, he saw the numbers. He was going it's data science, right? They get a lot of data. They understand all these different things that are happening. And he saw just how quickly the internet was growing. There's something like 10,000% a year or something like that. And he's like, wow, this is very interesting. I think I can make some money off this, right? So he came up with the idea to make Amazon, and really the rest is history. Became one of the richest people on earth at some point in time. But it all started at DE Shaw. So when you're doing this kind of stuff, doing this algo trading, you're in some very good company. A lot of these people have made quite a bit of money off this stuff. Both the investors in these hedge funds, the hedge fund managers themselves, they've all become fantastically rich from this stuff. So when you're in this space, you're in very good company, right? We also have some technology around this, right? If you're interested, we have a library that we developed called Lumibot. You can check it out on GitHub if you guys would like. Search for Lumibot. That's our library that we created, so you know what we're doing. We've been in the space for a while. We've developed our own technology in the space for quite some time. This library that we've built can trade stocks, options, futures, crypto, and many different exchanges. We connect to Coinbase, Binance, KuCoin, Alpaca, Interactive Brokers, a bunch of other exchanges. You can trade 24/7. We have trading intervals as low as 1 second, although we're going to even speed that up further. We can make it sub 1 second very soon, or we're going to. You can trade multiple strategies all at once. So you can get historical data. And it's very easy to use. We've really made this thing as simple as possible. We've worked a lot on our documentation and really made this thing kind of bulletproof, right? So we have some very good technology that we're working with here, right? So let me show you some demos of actually using some of that technology and some of the things that you would learn in our full course. If you take our full course, you would get access to all of this code, and we teach you exactly how they work and how to run them and how to modify them and all that sort of stuff, right? So I'm going to walk you through 4 strategies today. First one is the custom ETF, which is kind of like building your own ETF inside the crypto space. There's a lot of businesses that are doing this and making good money off this stuff. Then we're going to do a mean reversion strategy, which is quite profitable, surprisingly profitable for such a simple strategy. I'm going to run you through momentum, which is basically kind of showing you our back testing capabilities and what you can do with all that. And then I'm going to show you some social media trading, which is really cool. And I've seen some of our students make a lot of money doing this sort of thing. So I'm going to show you that as well. All right. So let's jump into it. So the first one that I'm going to show you, as I said, is this custom ETF strategy. All right. So basically, we're going to be rebalancing. It says 5 coins there. We actually are going to be using these 3 coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, right? 3 coins, right? And they're all quoted in USD, right? So basically, we're going to be trading these 3 coins, and they're going to be distributed equally. They're going to be 33% into each one of these, right? And importantly, you're going to be rebalancing your portfolio on a regular basis. So let me run this strategy. This is the code here. All right, I'll just code down here. And basically, if you want to, you can modify a lot of the stuff. We're 33% Bitcoin, 33% Ethereum, 33% Litecoin. We could change that up if we want. What if we had more Bitcoin? What if we had more Ethereum? What if we had other coins in there? We can create our own custom ETF to do whatever we want, right? But basically, this is going to be the result. And let me pull this over here for you. Show up my other screen. So here, every time you run a back test with us, right? And for those of you that don't know what a back test is, it's basically simulating our trading, right? What if we had run this strategy over the past few years? So in this case, what if we had run this strategy from January 2021 until January 2022, just that 1 year, right? So what if we were invested in this strategy, a third, right? How would we have done versus our benchmark, which in this case is Bitcoin, right? So how would we perform versus just investing in Bitcoin? Well, you see here that we do quite a bit better, right? So the blue line right here with all of our different trades here. You can see each trade that we would have done in the past here, right? And you see here that we beat Bitcoin by quite a bit. And we also have another tear sheet that comes out here every time we run a back test. I'll show you guys how to do this. If you guys join the class, we'll walk through in detail how to build these types of back tests. But here you see that our strategy, again in blue, smokes basically Bitcoin. We do quite a bit better. Yellow's the Bitcoin. Our strategy over this time period made us 78% almost, whereas Bitcoin itself only made 27%. Now, keep in mind, this is not the same thing as simply buying these 3 coins and holding them. It's very different from that, right? So what this strategy is going to do is it's going to automatically buy low and sell high, and it basically keeps them all in the same package, right? So which means that if Ethereum all of a sudden goes on this huge bull run, then we're going to be selling Ethereum and we're going to buy the other ones, right? And if Bitcoin shoots up and the other 2 go down, then we're selling Bitcoin, we're buying the other 2, right? And we're rebalancing this on a regular basis every 1 day in this case, right? So because of that, we are able to get much higher returns, right, than just Bitcoin by itself, because we're taking advantage of this buying high and or buying low, selling high, right, kind of mechanics. But then also we're diversifying between all of them, right? So we're getting much higher returns, but we're also not taking much more risk, right? So you see our Sharpe ratio, which is basically a ratio of risk to return, is quite a bit higher on our strategy versus our benchmark. We have 0.58 versus 0.91. We have a much better Sharpe ratio, right? Our max drawdown, or our biggest loss, which here is on Bitcoin, this is from here to here. For us, would have been from here to here. Our biggest loss would have been 60%. That would have been devastating, but Bitcoin would have been about the same. You would have lost about the same if you had just invested in Bitcoin, 53%. By the way, this bear market, or crypto winter that we're going through, this is nothing new, right? I've seen this many times, and you could see this again here, right? You also see that our volatility is not that much higher either, right? So volatility meaning how much it goes up and down, how much does it change on a day-by-day basis? Bitcoin changes by 65% on a regular basis, whereas our strategy changed 72. So a little bit riskier, but to be honest with you, to get triple the returns for slightly more risk, I think that is a really, really good payoff. So I think there's a great strategy to be investing in personally. All right. So that's one of them, our custom ETF strategy, right? I'll show you another strategy here as well, right? So that's our custom ETF. Here's another one. Here's our mean reversion strategy, okay? So that first strategy was all about, buying 3 assets, rebalancing, kind of creating your own ETF. Very profitable, as you can tell. Another really interesting strategy, and this one's fairly simple, but pays off really well. And you might have seen strategies like this where you're doing like a mean reversion. You're looking for confirming technical indicators, right? So here we're looking at 2 technical indicators. We're looking at RSI, right, or relative strength index. If you want to know a little bit more about that, you could Google it, RSI. What is RSI? Basically, it's a measure that checks how quickly things are rising. Here's basically the formula for it. You don't need to know the formula. We'll show you basically is how to use it. You don't need to know the details. But basically, when RSI is very high, things are said to be overheating or overbought. Usually we'll say if RSI is over 70 or something like that, we'll say that's overheating. And when things are below 30, we'll say that things are probably oversold and maybe it's a good buying opportunity, right? So we're looking at RSI. And then we're also looking at upper and lower Bollinger Bands. And for those of you that don't know what Bollinger Bands is, let me show you them here. Bollinger Bands. Right. So this is kind of what it looks like, right? Basically, you're drawing a moving average through your stock here in the middle, and then you're putting 2 standard deviations around it. Typically, that's the normal setup, although you could change that around this, right? So if we would expect that a stock kind of stays within these bands here usually, and when we see things going outside the Bollinger Band, we could say that's either overbought or oversold, or maybe something else is happening. But in our case, we're going to be confirming by these 2, right? So we're going to be looking at RSI and we're going to be looking at Bollinger Bands. When we're low on our RSI, specifically below 25, and we're below our closing prices below our lower Bollinger Band, then we're going to say we're going to buy. And when we're above an RSI of 75 and our close is above our upper Bollinger Band, then we're going to say that we're selling because we're overheating, right? So this thing takes a little bit of time to back test, so I'm not going to make you guys wait. It's going to be a couple hours to run this thing because it is quite intense. There's a lot of data. But let me show you the results from the back test, right? I've already done this a little bit earlier in the week. So here's some results from 2 different time periods, right? So here is from January 1st, 2021 up until May 2022. Honestly, don't ask me why I picked those dates, but I picked those dates. You can see here that we, smoked the benchmark again. We really beat even more so than before in the custom ETF. We really beat Bitcoin by quite a large margin. You see here that Bitcoin was only up, a modest 26%, which is still, or 35%, I should say, which is still pretty good. But we did quite a bit better. So Bitcoin is up 35%. We were up 124%, right? So we almost quadrupled it, right? We almost did 4 times higher return than Bitcoin using this strategy. And this is really only investing in Bitcoin and only doing this buy and sell kind of action, right? You can tell that our Sharpe ratio is quite a bit higher as well. It's 1.4 or 1.14 versus 0.57. So we have, not only are we getting better returns, but we're also doing it in a better risk appropriate manner. So this is the kicker here, right? So we quadrupled the returns of Bitcoin, but, or I should say, and on top of that, we also reduced our risk. That's amazing. Higher returns and lower risk. Who doesn't want that? It's amazing. You can see the biggest drop, the max drawdown on Bitcoin was 53%. That's probably from here to here, right? That's a pretty massive drop, right? Whereas ours is only 30%, the worst case loss, right? Which is probably from here to here, right? So we did a lot better in terms of returns and in terms of risk. Our volatility is also lower. It doesn't move up and down as much on a daily basis, so you don't have to stress as much. So we're getting quadruple the returns, and we're getting a much better risk profile as well. And by the way, if you go down these tear sheets and in this class, you'll learn how to go through all this detail. Basically, you can see all the breakdowns of how the returns went daily, how are your daily returns. Here's the volatility. You can see that we do a lot better on volatility pretty much across the whole entire board, right? So we have much better risk profile. Our rolling Sharpe ratio, it was very high in this point, right? We see all the times that we lost money, right? And then we could see our monthly breakdown as well, right? So May 2021 was probably our worst month. Our best month was October 2021, and our second best was March 2022, right? So you can get a really nice breakdown of how your algorithm would have performed. So when you're building something like this, it's not like, oh, I'm listening to some crypto guru or whatever, and they're telling me to do this. I mean, how do you know they're right? You know what I mean? So using this sort of thing, using data science, using back testing, you can actually figure out how is your algorithm going to perform. It's not guaranteed. If you're looking over the past, if you back test one in the past, it's not guaranteed that you're going to make that money in the future. But it should give you a significant amount more confidence that this thing is going to work well for you, rather than just someone telling you, oh, this is a good idea or not, right? So definitely a really good thing to do, this back testing, and you get a lot of details behind it whenever you run this, right? Cool. So that's our second strategy, right? I'm going to close a couple of these up here. Let me show you our third strategy. And this one is not as so much a strategy, but really kind of just showing you the capabilities of what we can do, right? So here I'm going to run this code, and this is a fairly simple strategy. Basically, all it's doing is trading based off of momentum, right? So if things have been up over the past X amount of days, then we buy. If it's been down, we don't buy it, right? So we're basically just following momentum, right? And what I'm doing here is I'm testing a bunch of different time frames, right? So I'm testing a momentum length of 50. This again showing up in a different browser. I'm testing a momentum length of 50 first, and then I'm going to test a momentum length of 70. Then I'm going to test a momentum length of 90, and then 110. And I can do this all in one shot. This is basically to optimize, right? So let's say you have a trading algorithm that you're running and you're like, oh, well, I heard that it's good to buy when RSI is below this and it's above this or whatever, right? Well, you can actually put all those to test, right? You can actually try out what would have happened if you did this, right? So here, we find out, is it better to do 50 days momentum, 70 days momentum, 110, 90? What is the better time frame to use is basically what we're testing here. So we're seeing all of our different results. And as these come in, there's some questions here. So I'm going to answer your question, Sergio. So first question is, what time frame is a second strategy? So the second strategy, that's trading minute to minute, right? That doesn't mean it places a trade every single minute, right? It's looking for specific things, but it's a minute level chart that's looking at. You can do it more frequent than that if you want to. Kind of depends on your broker and depends on what you're trying to do. You also don't want to trade too often because you're going to get killed with costs, right? So really what you're looking for is an algorithm that makes you enough money, but you're not trading so much that you're getting eaten alive by commissions, right? So that's kind of what that strategy is doing. That second strategy, it's minute to minute, and it's basically looking for opportunities that make the most sense, right? And then the question is, so are all these daily strategies? No, depends on each one of them. The custom ETF trades once a day. It rebalances once a day. The second strategy that I was showing you, the mean reversion, that is based on minute to minute, right? So it's trading on a minute level time frame all day long. And then this one, momentum, is also daily, right? So it's trading on daily momentums, right? So it depends. There's all sorts of different kind of strategies that you can build. Some that work on technical, some that work on a bunch of different things. I'm just trying to give you a broad spectrum of all these. And people ask me sometimes, like, which one is the best? Well, really the thing is that you want to be running a bunch of different strategies, right? All these big hedge funds I was talking about earlier, they don't run one strategy. They run 100 different strategies, right? And the reason for that is because one of them does better in one situation and another does better in a different one, right? So if you put all your money into just one strategy, there's a chance that things turn against you, right? However, if you have a couple of different strategies running at once, you're able to reduce your risk even further, right? So custom ETF works quite well individually, so run that. And then also run the mean reversion, 2 different accounts. Sometimes one will do better than the other, but they both back test very well, and they should provide very good returns in the long run. So I recommend having several different algorithms when you're doing this stuff. Diversification, right? So anyway, so here's the result of that momentum strategy. As you can tell here, this is momentum for 50 days, right? And you see that it didn't beat our benchmark, right? So Bitcoin actually did better than us, although we still beat it in terms of risk using this momentum because as you can tell here, things kind of flatline when things fall a lot. So we exit the market when things get really bad. It's kind of naturally inherent inside of a momentum strategy. So we didn't beat the benchmark in terms of returns, but we beat it in terms of return to risk, right? So on a risk-adjusted basis, we actually do a lot better with this momentum 50 days, right? However, we could also take a look at our 70 days. 70 days does do better, right? So we see that this one's actually an even better thing to do, right? Our Sharpe ratio is even higher doing momentum of 70. We see that our return is higher than that of Bitcoin. Our CAGR, or annualized return, right? So if we were to do this on a year by year basis, we made 122% a year versus Bitcoin, which only made 114%. And you see that also our max drawdown is a lot better. So we're getting better returns and taking on less risk. That's awesome, right? So that's for 70 days. What about 90 days? Okay, so 90 days, we're not doing as well. We're making 109%. We're not beating Bitcoin, although again, we're beating in terms of risk, right? Still much better risk adjusted, right? And then if we look at 110, well, this is maybe not so good, right? So now we're starting to see a decline. So we're trying to optimize our strategy. What is the ideal amount of time that you want to wait for your momentum, right? And here's a little graph of that. You can see here that this is Sharpe ratio. This is our returns, and then we have our volatility down here at the bottom. But you can see here that The 50 has, 90% return. Then we have a 122% return, and then it starts to decline 109%, and then 89%. So we see that kind of our peak here really is 70. So that's probably, if when we're building our algorithm and we're deploying it, that's where I would suggest that you run your algorithm with those specific parameters, those specific variables that you set it up with, right? So really cool. So not only are you able to build these types of strategies, but you can back test them, make sure they're working properly for you, check different types of parameters and all these different things to make sure you optimize so you're making the most amount of money without taking crazy risks, right? That's the name of the game. You don't want to just buy some crazy wacky coin and make a ton of money one year and then lose all of it the next year. We want to be consistently making money every year without betting the house on it. Okay, so that's another one there. Cool. So we have all those different examples. I'm going to show you one more, and then we'll kind of get more into the course itself. So here's an example of social media trading strategy. All right. And let me pull this out here. So I'm going to pull out the Reddit bot. By the way, all these things, when you take our class, you get access to all this code. You get this code. We'll teach you how to use it, teach you how to run it. So any of these strategies that you're seeing here, you will have access to when you purchase our full course, right? So here's our Reddit bot, right? So this bot, I'm going to run it as well because I think this takes a little bit of time before it gets going. But I'm going to make sure that we're connected to Alpaca. Post limit. Okay, cool. So what this is doing is it's going to Reddit. Okay. And, there's a lot of things that you get from the internet, right? Like Reddit is not the only thing. You could be reading Twitter, you could be reading news feeds, Benzinga, whatever, right? There's a lot of stuff that you could do. This is just one example of this, right? But this, in this case, is going to this subreddit called cryptocurrency. You may have heard of other ones. Wall Street Bets is a really popular one on here, right? But the cryptocurrency one I find to, have more crypto related stuff, right? There's quite a few members. There's 5.1 million members in this. There's lots of posts in here. And for those of you that don't know what Reddit is basically like an online forum, right? So people here post questions or comments or whatever, and then people can go in and comment on each one of these, right? So here is Roger Ver has liquidated on CoinFlix and now owes big debt, right? So they're talking about this whole thing. There's some news that came out, right? And then people below will comment on this, right? Solution, don't buy their token, right? CoinFlix sounds like whatever. CoinFlix or CoinFlex, right? They have all these different things that they're talking about. And when you read these comments, I mean, if you do this as an individual, you kind of learn a lot, right? You'll learn about, do people like it? Do people not like it? What are some of the reasoning behind this, right? You can learn actually quite a bit. So people write a lot on the internet. Same thing with Twitter, right? Twitter is kind of the same thing. You could actually learn a lot by going through all this information. But basically here, what we're going to be doing is we go through all the hot posts. I had this thing set up, and you could do more than this, right? It actually already traded for us, which is pretty cool. But basically, it's looking for the top 20 hot posts, right? And then going through each one of those comments, getting to know the sentiment of those comments, right? Is one talking good things about Bitcoin or Litecoin or whatever, right? So looking for all the different symbols. We have a list of symbols that we can go through and seeing, was it a good thing that they wrote or was it a bad thing that they wrote, right? And if it's a good thing, then we give it a higher rating. If it's a bad thing, then we give it a lower rating, right? So we're kind of judging what people are currently saying about these coins. We could also be a lot smarter about this if we wanted to. We could pay attention more to some influencers, right? Because they might move markets more so than others. We might want to look at people's reputations in tandem with this. There's a lot of things that we could do to basically figure out, what is the community saying that we should be buying, right? There's a lot of really cool stuff. I'll tell you, the instructor or one of our instructors that teaches machine learning, he uses this information and makes a ridiculous amount of money for his clients. There is a lot of money in text information on the internet. And you can really make quite a bit of money trading this stuff. So, for example, here, so it read through those top 20 posts. You can actually see what it got, right? We can see all the output here. Basically, it read all those posts. We find that this is all the stuff that we got here. If you've never written code before, this might look like a little bit of gibberish, but let me explain. Basically, here we have Bitcoin had an average score of 0.007. Negative would mean that it's a negative score. This is pretty close to flat, right? Yeah. So question here, Horace. Yeah, the bots do identify sentiment. So it'll read through each comment, and this is basically what it got. So first comment it read that mentioned Bitcoin had a flat line, right? There's no, it didn't think it was positive or negative, so it's just flat line 0. And again, had another 0. Then one person really clearly hated Bitcoin. They're saying bad things about it. So we got a negative rating there, negative 0.58. Then we had another 0, then negative 0.69. Then we had, a really positive comment about Bitcoin at 0.75. They said something really good about Bitcoin. So we kind of take all those together and we come up with this average score, which is 0.007 for Bitcoin. We also got that for Solana, which had an average score here of 0.07, so quite a bit better than Bitcoin. And we also got Ethereum that got 0.24, right, which clearly has the best rating right now. So it took all those ratings and based on those ratings gave them all scores or gave them all weights in our portfolio. So you see here that I gave Bitcoin a weight of 2.9% and Ethereum a weight of 97% because it's significantly better right now in terms of sentiment. Solana didn't get a weighting because it didn't have enough comments, right? So if we don't have enough comments, we're not going to ascribe a rating because it could just be a fluke, right? It may have not been mentioned enough times. So when I go back to my broker here, Alpaca, if I refresh this page, you see that it automatically bought for me. It took $50,000 and divided it up between these two. Ethereum got $48,000 and Bitcoin got $1.4 thousand automatically based off of the things that happen on Reddit, right? Very cool, right? We're reading all these comments, we're getting the sentiment. So, what this means, there's a lot of really big implications for this, right? So first of all, that means that if a coin is sliding in sentiment, we can automatically exit that trade, right? So for example, if people are saying really bad things about Luna, we will automatically exit that, right? Because people are saying, oh, they might fail, things are going bad. Well, you know what? We pick up on all that market sentiment and we leave that trade before, anything even happens because we were already talking bad about that. Or if there's some new coin that just came out and people really, really love it and there's some great information about it, they're like, oh, you really got to buy Guard. It's the best thing in the world. Well, we're going to identify that too. We're going to find that and we're going to buy that coin, right? It has a great sentiment. People are loving it. Let's jump into that. We can make this bot even smarter over time. We can make it look for specific breakout periods. We can look at technical analysis along with it. There's a lot of really smart things you could do with this. And I could tell you a lot of our students that build things like this have made a ridiculous amount of money trading this sort of stuff, either trading on social sentiment or trading based off of what influencers are saying. Because you could use this just the same to track Twitter and see every time that Elon Musk tweets about Dogecoin, automatically buy it, right? Or name your favorite crypto influencer, whatever he's talking about, automatically buy that stuff. Because when an influencer, they talk about something, even if they're wrong, right? Even if they're not correct about this thing being a good coin, well, people are still going to pay attention. And if it's a good comment and they're saying good things about it and they have millions of people following them, you better believe that that price is going to go up, right? So you can have bots monitoring for influencers. You have bots monitoring what's happening on Reddit. You can automatically adjust to things that are happening in the market. And like I said, I've had students run this stuff and made quite a bit of money doing this sort of thing, right? So really cool strategy. I could show you different modifications of this too. You could be reading. I've one set up to monitor Discord, right? I don't know if we have to go through that, but it's pretty cool to watch. If you type in a Discord, it will automatically listen into the conversation and like buy more of whatever people are talking about. If they're saying good things about it, people are saying bad things about it, it sells it, right? It automatically figures all that stuff out. It's a really cool bot to run, and I think has a lot of legs behind it, right? Cool. All right. So that's a couple of strategies. We do have more than this. If you guys want, I could show off a couple more as well. But in the interest of time, I don't want to go too crazy. But these are 4 strategies. Some of the ones I think are kind of cool, right? And do seem to make quite a bit of money. But there's a lot of other stuff that you could do, right? Like a lot of people talk about technical analysis bots, right? And if this was a stock market, I'd tell you, you're probably not going to make any money using technical analysis. But surprisingly, in the crypto markets, you actually can. A lot of people pay attention to technicals. So because of that, it kind of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So there's a lot of technical analysis stuff that you can do. It goes a lot further than just, oh, if this is up, then that's down. Like you can really fine tune exactly what your bot is going to do, right? Like, is it going to trade when RSI hits this level? And when it does, what kind of trade is it going to do? How long is it going to hold it? When is it going to sell that position? Are we going to place a stop loss that's, 2 times lower? Or are we going to place a limit order that's 3 times higher? What is your risk to reward kind of ratio there? There's a lot of things that you could tweak about these bots. You have so much control when you're building this inside of Python. Heck of a lot more than some of these websites that, to be honest with you, I don't think they're doing anything really that special. You could pair, technical analysis with the news, right? So if some news comes out saying, oh, Solana is launching this new thing, and the technicals are pointing that it's going up, then ride that wave and hold it for the next little bit and make some money, right? Or if some negative news comes out about a coin, then short it, right? And you can look at the technicals to back up kind of your philosophy and where you put your stop losses and limits. You can do a lot of really interesting stuff like that using code, and a lot more profitable, a lot more interesting types of bots. So that's technical analysis. And you could also plug into a lot of other custom feeds and signals. There's so much data out there for crypto. You can get everything from like on-chain analysis, where you're looking at, how many miners are there? Is mining coming offline? Where are the people spending that? Like that matters because of supply and demand forces, right? Or you could look at something like this, like the Social Insights. Lunar Crush is a great website. Basically tells you, what are all the sentiments for all these different coins, right? And you can go in and discover different coins, which ones are doing well. These guys apparently, with their data, they said they're able to triple the market's returns. Well, you could use their data. You could put that into a bot. You could use this information and trade off it, and maybe even beat what they're doing because they're trading it better, right? There's a lot of things you could plug into. There's a lot of data out there that you could use in your bots to make some very interesting and very powerful bots that make you quite a bit of money, right? So just because the ones that I showed you those 4 there, there's quite a bit more stuff that you can build, and we talk about a lot in our classes. All right, so speaking of which, let's talk about the actual class itself. So let me share this link with you. All right, there's that link. So let's walk through this together. So this is our class, crypto trading using algorithms, right? We walk through a lot of the stuff today. We walk through kind of the basics of it. This class is going to go really in depth, in detail about all the stuff that we talked about today. You're going to get a lot of code, everything, all the bots they saw today. You're going to get all the code for that. If you don't know how to code, we'll help you out with that as well, right? There's some people come through that are new to coding or maybe don't have a ton of experience. We're very beginner friendly. So it's not one of those classes that is going to be this crazy hard thing for you to do. We jump right into the algorithms and we try to cut all the BS and really just what do you need to know to build this kind of stuff, right? We've been doing classes like this for a long time. So we're really about just going straight to the point and how do we get you to make these bots and make them successful, right? So here's that class. You can read about it a little bit in the description and all that. Here's some of the stuff that we talked about today too, why use algorithms, right? You read about the learning outcomes, right? But I want to talk to you about our curriculum for the most part. So this class, if you choose to take it, is going to be an 8-week long class, okay? It's divided up into 3 parts, right? The first part is really introduction to Python and all the fundamentals that you're going to need for building this bot. Part 2 is getting into these crypto bots and building lots and lots and lots of them, showing you how to back test them, showing you all these different strategies and how they work, right? And then part 3 is just going through lots of different examples, right? So part 1 is 3 weeks long. Week 1 is, of course, introduction. You get to know other people in your class. We do a round robin so everyone gets to know each other. We help you set up your system, make sure that everything is properly set up on your computer so you're ready to go. Week 2 is going to be an introduction to Python or an overview. If you already know Python, we're going to briefly go over all that stuff. Hello world and how do you make dictionaries and loops and all that kind of stuff. Then week 3 is going to get into intermediate Python, and we're also going to start setting up your bot in this week 3 as well. We go through the more advanced topics like functions and classes, and then we jump into importing and installing libraries, and we specifically will import this Lumibot library and show you how to start using this thing, how to set it up on your computer, and make sure that you can get the ball rolling there. Right. So that's part 1. Part 2 is getting these bots set up. Right. So we're going to show you how to set up your first crypto bot. We're going to show you how to link it to a broker. We'll show you different brokers for different examples. We can show you Coinbase Pro. We can show you KuCoin. We can show you Alpaca, which is this broker that I'm showing you here. Right. So we'll walk through how to connect your bot to all these different brokers. Right. And then we'll, by week 4, you should have a working trading bot that is actually trading for you. Right. I suggest you start off with fake money. Let's not immediately jump into using your real cash, although some people have opted to just, fund their accounts with $10 and do that. If that's what you prefer, then you can do that as well, right? Crypto is unique. They can trade like very small amounts. So in effect, it's kind of like a paper account. But that's week 4. Week 5, we teach you about back testing a strategy. How do you build a strategy and how do you test if this thing would have done well in the past? Because if it would have done well in 2021 and 2020 and 2019, if it was doing well in each one of those years, chances are it's probably going to do well this year, right? So we'll show you how to build a back test, how to get the data to do back testing, and how to actually create these types of things to see how would your bot have performed over the past couple of years, right? Then part 3 is going to be about a lot of different examples, right? And we're going to show you all sorts of different things. We'll show you all the stuff that you learned about today, how to create a crypto ETF. How do you do that? How does the code work? How do you modify it even to do what you need it to do? How do you build a tactical analysis bot? And how do you make sure that's making you money? And how do you tweak things in the way that it trades, right? Then we're also going to go through some more advanced strategies, right? We're going to connect to some APIs, and we're going to be doing this social media bot. I'll show you how to connect to Reddit. We'll show you how to connect it to Discord. And if you want, you can also connect it to a lot of other platforms as well, Twitter and all that. It's actually quite easy to switch between platforms. And we'll go over all that and how all that works in week 7. And then week 8, we're going to go over machine learning. For those of you that don't know what machine learning is, it's basically artificial intelligence in a way. It's the basis behind artificial intelligence. And it's basically really advanced statistics that's going to help create a bot that is really smart and learns on its own, which is really freaking cool. And I'll tell you, again, we have an entire class just on machine learning. And the instructor for that class, he does a lot of stuff for clients for crypto and makes a ridiculous amount of money for these people. He raised $10 million from Google Ventures to build this company out, and is really providing some great returns for his clients. I've heard of returns in a couple hundreds of percent that he's making for his clients using these types of techniques. So really cool stuff. We'll show you how to apply machine learning to crypto bots and how to actually tweak that and train your algorithm to actually run and automatically trade for you using its own intelligence, kind of like an AI trading bot, right? So I'll show you how to build all that stuff, right? And that's going to be it. You're going to go through all those 8 weeks. And by the end of it, you're going to have a lot of bots built and a lot of things that you can mess around with, right? So if you want to take our course, the full course, there are 3 different plans, right? The first plan is the self-directed plan, right? Which is basically, you get access to the videos. They're pre-recorded videos. You get to watch those videos. You get access to the code. You get access to our whole community and all those private parts, the Discord community, the private Discord community, and the discussion hour and all that. You also get to know other people in your class, right? And that's a self-directed plan. It's really recorded classes that you watch and you learn at your own pace, right? Then we have our live classes, which is one of our most popular plans, although it's kind of been overtaken a bit more lately by our third one. But one of our most popular plans here, basically you get everything from self-directed. You get the code, you get the video recordings, you get access to our community, the private parts of our community. But then also you get access to a live class where it's kind of like this, right? We're teaching live. You can ask questions throughout, right? So if you get stuck anywhere, we're able to help you out very quickly. You'll get to know other people in the class. You really, it helps pace you and it helps you actually, it's kind of like being like part of a real class, right? If you remember what those were like before the pandemic, it's like that, but live over Zoom. So you really get a lot of interaction. If you have any questions, you ask them on the spot. We do a lot of screen sharing. So if you're stuck anywhere, we could share the screen right then and there and make sure that you're good to go, right? So that's a live class. It's basically everything from self-directed plus more, where you get the live aspect, right? Then we also have our third tier in our plans, which basically everything from before. You get access to the videos, you get access to the code, you get to be part of the live classes as well, right? But then on top of that, you also get access to our team of software engineers and a lot of extra tutoring help if you need. There's some people that I spend, every week we get on a phone call and they have some cool new idea and we're working on it, and I'm writing code for them and making sure that they're able to build out these things. That's a project help tutoring plan that basically you get all of that from before, the live classes, the recordings, everything. And then we also give you 10 hours of a software engineering time where we could actually help you build these bots. So if maybe you're thinking you don't have a ton of coding experience, or maybe you do, you just don't have the time, well, we can actually get our team of experts to help you write a lot of code and or help you get through any parts where you're stuck or anything like that, right? This is the white glove service, and it's actually become lately our most popular plan. Most people tend to opt for this, where you really get a lot of that extra help, and you get our developers involved if we need to as well, right? So here are the costs of the three plans, right? The self-directed plan is $1,598, right? Again, that gives you access to our video library, our library of code, access to the community. You get also some instructor support as well, and you get access to our weekly discussion hour, right? The live class is, again, all of that plus more, right? This is for $36.95. And it gives you everything from a self-directed plan. You also get these 8 weeks of live classes where if you have any questions, you can ask those questions during the actual class itself. You get 6 hours of live Q&A. So if you need to jump on a call, more than happy to do that. We can talk live over Zoom and kind of help you going with all these things. You get access to all future videos and codes. So if you ever want to retake this class, you could do that as well. A lot of people choose to retake the class just because, like life happens, right? Like sometimes you'll take the class and, maybe you got a new job. You got a new job or something like that. So maybe you can't finish, but they'll join in the next cohort. Right? So you can retake this class as many times as you want. You get to know your classmates. If you need help with resume or interviews, we help with that as well. And you get unlimited chat Q&A, chat and email Q&A. So a question here from Sean. Does access to community end after courses are finished? No, it does not. You get lifetime access to our community, right? So as soon as you join the class, we'll let you into our all of our private Discord channels. So you get access to all the stuff pertaining to this class. You'll also get access to that discussion hour, which again, just finished right now and is really cool. Lots of very smart people they can learn from, share code with, collaborate with on bots and all that sort of stuff. All right, so good question. Thank you, Sean. Okay, so that's our live class. And then now our project help and tutoring plan, which is, again, becoming our most popular plan right now. A lot of people are opting for this one instead. And that's going to give you everything that we just talked about, right? Everything from self-directed, everything from live classes. You get all of that stuff plus more, right? So on top of that, you're also going to, get the live classes, right? But you're also going to get help with building a custom project, which means that if we need to get software engineers involved, we can help you build out a project up to 10 hours of our software engineers' time. So we can write code for you if you need help with that. You also get 10 hours of one-on-one video phone sessions, or you get that software development time. So you get to spend those 10 hours however you want, either on software engineers or on one-on-one tutoring, really detailed kind of tutoring. To be truthful, that 10 hours, sometimes people go over. We're not super strict about that either. So if you pick the Project Help tutoring plan, you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck. You're going to get all these things from self-directed, the videos, the code. You're going to get the live class, and then you're also going to get all this extra help to make sure that you really can build out a bot that works really well for you, or several bots that work well for you. Right. Okay, if you click on the middle one, or if you scroll down, you'll see the times for our next classes. The July class is starting very soon, right? This one starts on July 27th, right? Again, it goes for 8 weeks long. These all go for 8 weeks, excluding holiday breaks. We recommend about 8 to 12 hours per week, although some people will spend more, spend less, right? It's not a hard requirement. This one's going to be every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern or 5 p.m. Pacific, so Wednesday nights. And then every class is about 2 hours per week. It's going to be live over Zoom, and we're going to be doing this sort of stuff. You'll be able to ask questions, and we'll show you algorithms and all that kind of stuff. That's July. Then we also have another class that will be starting in October. By the way, July class registration ends July 20th. Course starts on July 27th. Right. The October class doesn't start until October 12th. Right. That one's, again, also going to be every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. Same thing, 2 hours per week, all that stuff. This one as well, if you want to sign up for October class, if you want to save 20%, we do have a coupon code for you here. So, for example, if I took this coupon code here and I went to select course, and if I typed it in, you'll see, I'll get rid of these here. All right, so if I just have that one coupon, I post that, apply, and automatically save 20%. That's $739, guys. That's a lot of savings, right? So definitely worth it to buy ahead of time and get that extra savings as well. All right. So those are our two upcoming classes for this, for the live cohort, right? July and October. Okay. There's also some more stuff here. If you want to read a little bit about myself, you can read about me here. And you could also watch some testimonials from our past students. We have quite a few in here. Students that have been around for a while. You'll probably get to know them if you're in our community. They join our discussion hour very often. They're in Discord groups. They built some really cool stuff. I know Agim. He's actually started his own business in this, and he's making some good money doing this, basically giving like trading alerts to people. He's done quite well. From when he came to us, he didn't know how to code, right? And now he's built his own business around this and making some good money. Renee, was another great student that went through and built some cool stuff. Sintayan, this guy, every time I talk to him, I feel like he's making an insane amount of money. Last time I spoke to him, I think he said he was making 400% a year. Crazy, right? A lot of that was like the social media stuff where he's following influencers and all that. Very interesting. If you want to learn more about kind of what he's doing, you could watch this video review too. And then another one of our students, Joel, this guy, works in Silicon Valley, so he's a good coder, and he's still got quite a bit from this course. If you want to learn about, someone who really knows how to code and what he got from it, you can listen to Joel's testimonial and kind of what he's been able to do with this. There's a few other ones here that are just written that you can read as well if you want. If you want to read more, we have tons of reviews. We're getting more and more by the day. We're starting to collect these more. But you could go to more and you could look at testimonials, and we have a bunch of them in there, and you could learn a lot about our past students and what they thought about the course. Don't take my word for it. They're the ones that have done this. I'm really trying to do the best I can to make sure that everyone's happy coming out of this course, making money and doing great things, So that's my focus. And you can, definitely see that from some of these testimonials from other people. All right. Cool. Okay. So that's pretty much it for today's class. Right. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Right. I know you have been asking questions throughout, but I'll leave a little bit of time right now as well for any other questions that you might have. So I'll leave a little bit of time for you to write out into the chat. Let me know if you have any questions or if there's anything that I can help you with. By the way, you could also catch me on Discord, right? So if you come up with a question after this, you could always go onto Discord. I'm very active on here. You'll find me in many of the different channels, but you can message me in one of the channels, or you can message me directly, right? We have some great conversations on here. So definitely make sure you check me out on Discord, or write me an email, or actually I'll send my email out, which is rob@lumiwealth.com. Go rob@lumiwealth.com. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. But yeah, I'll give you guys a few more seconds here to write this out. It's been a pleasure having you guys here. Honestly, this has been really nice. We had a bit of technical difficulties at the beginning, but it worked out, and I'm glad that you guys stuck around and went through this. Really happy to have you here. This is really great. If you have any questions, again, Discord, email me. I'd be happy to help in any way that I can. I really care about what we do here. This is, my life's work is the things that I love doing more than anything else. I am more than happy to talk about any of these topics here at length. Sean says, I'm looking forward to the Lumi Wealth program. I'll probably opt the self-taught version, but real caveat is networking. Yeah, 100%. Definitely getting to know other people in our community is great, for sure. I think if you did the live class, you'd even get to know more people, because we do that round robin and all that kind of stuff, but it's up to you. So as soon as you purchase this, we can give you access to the community, and you can join in on that. Every Tuesday is a really good discussion. I think that's probably one of the better ones. But also, if you join that self-directed, you also get one-on-one time. If you need to, we can jump on calls, and I can help you out with whatever you need help with. All right. Cool. Awesome. All right. So thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure. I hope you guys have a great night. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I hope to see you in our classes. All right. Thank you very much, and have a great night. Bye.